right, starting the stream and starting the recording. Hey everyone, this is episode 505 of OotiniCast. This is the raw version of the show that will go out with all flubs and flaws intact. And let me make sure that the stream is looking right. Yeah, looks fine. Great. Yeah, so this is the raw version of the show that goes out with all flubs and flaws intact. And then we will put out the polished, edited version of the audio as in podcast tomorrow. The raw version is also being recorded and will go up on YouTube later on today. And let me go ahead and I'm going to post out on Blue Sky that we're starting. Here we go. And let's see, maybe I repost it on my personal one as well. Okay. Perfect. All right, so let me have a little water and then we'll get going with the official show. As you can see, Kitty's not here. I'll address that as soon as we get going here. Okay, going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that knows all about the Howling Tempest Gang and their murderous, flesh-eating captain. This is episode 505, being recorded on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. I'm your host, Chill, and my host, KittyKissz, is not feeling well. He is not in today. We hope he feels better, and I'm sure he will, and so let's just roll into it. It's kind of a shame that Kitty couldn't make it, because he has some cool things going on. His stream keeps growing and stuff like that. He'll make a more official announcement, I'm sure, on the next OotiniCast. But go check him out. We've been doing a lot of PvP with KittyKissz. We're in the 70s for both of our Smurf-themed characters. I'm on a Skank Tank Power Tech, and he is on a sniper, actually a gunslinger. And yeah, I don't think I'm enjoying it. I think he's enjoying it too, but I don't think I'm personally very effective in this Skank Tank gear on this spec. It would be interesting to try the tank version. I've done the tank power tech, but as an operation character. It's sort of my operation tank main been for all of Legacy of the Sith, so it's been for a long time now, and do like it on that side of things. On what I'm doing with the Skank Tank thing is this is actually now the 3rd Skank Tank I've made. So I did a Juggernaut with Lollipop. I did a Shadow or Assassin one, Skank Tank. Who was that on? Trying to remember. It might have been Freddie Mercury. Anyway, I think it was a different one, actually. But anyway, we did that one too. And now we're doing Skank Tank leveling PvP on the Smurf character. And I would say that Skank Tanking, while leveling anyway, and at endgame it might be a little bit different because, when you get to the endgame, then there's the whole gearing up thing. And the gearing up does make a lot of difference. Like you can sort of like really dial things in, and it's quite possible that like Skank Tanking might be more effective on some of these specs, or less effective than the actual tanking. Or maybe you go tank gear, but you do some skanking maybe with the augments or something like that. Haste ask. And so I don't feel like I'm particularly effective as a Skank Tank, but I am committed to doing it all the way up. I'm at level 75, so I just got my tactical. I'm actually using the one where you get your regular taunt. When you do damage after it, it roots them for 2 seconds. It used to be a stun, which would be pretty powerful. They changed it into a root. It feels pretty good. I think it is useful for sure. It's useful to have semi-hard CC available on a 15-second cooldown. So it does kind of take away from the amount of actual protection that you can get with your single target taunt, because when you do the extra damage and they get the root, it ends the taunt. So yeah, there is definitely some things to be said about that. But anyway, it's been interesting, and so we have a few more levels to go, and yeah, we'll have to talk with Kitty about that next time. So we did that a lot. And I also, however, got Caitlin up a little bit further. She's now done with all the class story and all the side stories. So what I was doing with her is something I did with a Ripley from Aliens based character on the Republic side, and that's to do all of the side missions that I could find. So I was doing the world arcs, I was doing the side missions, I was doing the bonus series as well. I didn't bother doing the heroic 2s because, you know, I see those occasionally and stuff like that. But I hadn't seen like the bonus series in ages. I hadn't seen the side missions in a long time, most of them, and it was really good. It was really good to do on the Empire side. So we've gotten through that, and because she's going to become my operation main, I want to take her all the way through the story. So I always try to do that with my operation character. So we are now moving on through the rest, and but I haven't had that much time. Like it took a lot of time to get all the way through Corellia because there's so many side missions. No bonus series, but a lot of side missions. And but we're past that, and we did Ilum, and I think we're still on Ilum, or did we get on to McCap? I think we're still on Ilum actually, but I think we're almost done there. So lots to do, lots of story to do. And so what I've been doing the last couple of days is I'd like to do some PvP. I'll probably do it on Starforge as well, sort of make Starforge just my overall PvP server, and not just for leveling PvP, but also for any endgame PvP that I do. That way I'm not I don't have to confuse myself, even though I've still done a lot more stuff on Satil Shan, and I have a lot more characters on Satil Shan. But what I did is I took some time, a couple of streams actually, and I went through like every spec in the game and kind of like went through it in terms of like how, but strictly from my point of view, like I wasn't trying to, be the, make a real judgment on it as for anyone else, but just for myself, like how I felt the spec would probably feel in terms of damage, in terms of like how much utility it has, how much survivability it has, and also just sort of a fun factor, like how enjoyable do I find this spec to play in general, and how much fun I think it would be for me to play in PvP. Because if I'm going to do 80 PvP as a rank alcoholic who loves to switch things all the time, if I'm going to settle in on a PvP spec, I'm going to want to make sure it's one that I really do enjoy. So what I did is so now I have a little spreadsheet, and I went through all of them, and I sort of picked, I think it's about like 10 of them that we're actually going to try. And we're going to try like, one session, do one session, do another. If I really like it, probably go more than one session. If I'm pretty sure that I'm okay dropping that one, then I'll probably just stick with one session. I don't want to just do like one war zone, because then then that could be anything. That could be just one bad war zone you have or something like that. But if I do like a whole sessions worth of PvP and I'm not feeling it yet, yeah, I think I'll know that it's okay to move on. Some of them are so we started with we have the two DPS Juggernaut specs. We're going to try those first. I want to try Sage Healing. I want to try a couple of the Sniper specs. There's a couple of others that I'm going to try too. I'm looking forward to doing that, and we'll just do that on days when I'm not PvPing with Kitty, because if I'm going to do that, I want to do it a pretty good amount, like not just a little bit after I'm done with Kitty, and then I have like an hour or so to play, or maybe 2 at most, and then maybe I don't have enough time to do all that. So I'd rather do it for a whole session, basically. Anyway, so we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we can find a spec that I can actually stick with at 80, and that should be good. I am finding that I tend to feel like even if my damage is okay, if I'm dying really fast, and in the meantime, if I don't feel like I'm being useful, like if maybe I'm doing damage but I'm not doing anything else, like the utility is not very good or whatever, that it definitely like makes me less enjoy that spec. Like doing big numbers is fun, but in PvP it's not the only fun thing. So we'll see. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the tip of the week. We got a tip from DL Smoothwolf. He said, Happy New Year, OotiniCast. My tip of the week is unfortunately in regards to the passing, and I was going to talk about this later, but this is a great time to talk about this. The passing of Yuan Par's actress, Olivia Hussey. I was going to suggest you guys could create characters in her honor, clones or something along those lines, although I don't know what robes she uses or what lightsaber she uses. I guess you could make a consular, and you see her pretty early in the story, so you could find that out pretty quickly, I suppose. And that wouldn't tell you what it is. You can't, it's not like you can inspect her or anything like that. Anyway, DL continues. Hope 2025 turns out to be one of the most awesome and exciting years of SWTOR. And I'm considering making a return to SWTOR and would like to eventually rejoin Utini Nice and Utini Rage, but I don't know who I would get in touch with about guild absence or return. Basically, we talk about this at a little bit. It happens at the very end, so I understand why people don't always hear the very end of the podcast. But on the outro, we always talk about how you join the group. Basically, the easiest way is to join the game on Satil Shan. You /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. There's one on each side, and you ask for an invite. You basically let them know you're a fan of the show, and you join up that way. It can be a little tricky, if you play late at night or something or whatever, and just no one happens to be on, then that can be tricky. But usually people can get in relatively easily that way. I will also, I suppose, if you've been in the guild before, you may have access to the Discord, and the Discord would definitely be an easy way, because there are people who, if you put a note up saying, hey, I'm going to be playing for the next hour or two or whatever, and you put that in, then it gives people a chance to see it, and then try to invite you that way. So there we go. Thank you, DL. And if you have a tip of the week, send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Talonfon, M83R or M2B9 droid code, and a 450cc code courtesy of Broadsword. So thank you. And we'll go on to the Mind Trap. And we'll have some things to discuss here as well. But anyway, the question was, the SWTOR devs are doing something with die packs. What do you think that should be? And so the options we put up were permanent 50% sale, which is what they said they would do until they do this change, whatever it is. Multi-packs, stackability, or other. And please reply. And we got some votes on both on Twitter X and also on Blue Sky. And if you added up the stackability one, with permanent 50% sale coming in second and multi-packs coming in third, with a fair bit of other, only 7% on Twitter X, but quite a bit, high percent, 40% on Blue Sky, although the overall numbers were lower. And we got some good interactions, especially on Blue Sky. And one of the things that several people said, Intisar, which was interesting, would be, well, only one person said this one, Intisar, but it was interesting. I'd like to be able to separate the dyes that the modules get plugged in outfits so we can mix and match the colors more freely. In other words, have sort of like you can have a primary color and a secondary color, but then mix and match to your heart's content. That would be cool. Some people love stackability, but the one that several people mentioned that we did not include as an option, but maybe we should have, is make it collection unlockable, like so many other things in the game. How that exactly would work, I don't know. Yeah, it would be interesting, because that way, if it was unlockable, then once you've unlocked one of them, you can just get one of that color whenever you want. Yeah, I can't imagine how the transition would be interesting from that. So how do you go from one where nothing's unlockable and every die is individual to all of a sudden having a collection thing? If you have one die and you use it, does it just unlock that color for you permanently for that character, and then you would do an account unlock to unlock it for every character? I mean, I guess that's pretty similar to how it works now. It's just that there's a lot of craftable dies, and then what do you do with those, and then stuff like that. I think it's a great idea in general, though. I just don't know how exactly it would look, or how the transition would be. Like, would it be just like one die? Like all you'd need is one die, and then you could just unlock it for your character, and then you'd have to pay for an account unlock, or would you need like a stack of 10 maybe? Like maybe they make it stackable, but it's, or maybe you have to use it several times or something. I don't know. I'm not sure how they would do it, but it's a cool idea, and it definitely seems like a good idea for in general, I think. But they sort of said it was going to be a big deal, and they didn't want to go into details. So yeah, we don't know exactly what the die plans are. It'll be interesting to see when it comes, and I'm interested to see if it's going to be like one of these or a combination of these that we had in our poll, or if it's just some other idea that they've got just in general. I don't know. I do love the idea that you could actually control the primary and the secondary separately. That would be cool, because like, there's a lot of times when I'm putting in the die that's closest to what I want, but isn't exactly what I want, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's really interesting. Let's see. So thank you to everyone who responded to us on both Blue Sky and Twitter X. And that leads me to the sort of, I'm not trying to make a big deal about this, but we are essentially leaving Twitter X because of Musk's recent actions. We can no longer really, in good conscience, stay on that platform. I'm not going to close out the account or anything, and I haven't changed anything on the account yet. I will probably put a little breadcrumb. We're going to, hopefully Blue Sky will sort of become the main one. It's definitely pretty lively over there, and we already have a lot of folks who follow both myself personally and Kitty as well, plus OotiniCast on Blue Sky. We also do have Mastodon as well, and those are the two places where we will actually put up the Mind Trap poll from now on. The Mastodon has it sort of built in, so we can just use that one. Blue Sky, it's a little trickier. There's sort of like this little thing that you can go to, and it will sort of make a poll using some behind the scenes sort of hand wavy stuff. Unfortunately, I can't control how long the poll lasts, so it only lasts one day. So I will try to also post up and let people know when the poll is available. If you miss the Blue Sky poll, because like I said, it only lasts one day, the Mastodon one, we can control the time out. It's like up to a week, or it can be 3 days or whatever. So hopefully we get it like right on the day, and we can do the full week. If we're a little late, we might have to make it 3 days, but it'll still be longer up than the Blue Sky one, which is, like I said, only one day. So hope everyone can be on board with that. I understand if you can't, but definitely try to follow us on Blue Sky if you have it, Mastodon if you have it, and we'll try to, try to be as active as we can on those places. And there we go. So let's see. Then we go to the Holo feed, and not a ton of stuff, but things are starting to warm up now. So what happened was the last episode was like right after the holidays, and as we mentioned on the last show, Broadsword, and before that BioWare, they have a nice policy of just letting basically the whole team, as many people as they can, have like the end of the year off. Like it's a whole team thing where everyone gets that time off, and they just keep on the bare bones that they need to sort of keep the game going, because of course it still is an active game. There's still some live service people and customer service, a few customer service people and stuff like that, but they try to let like essentially the whole team have some time off around that time. And because of that, there's very little news. It's starting to warm up a little bit now. There were a few like things like the Kai Zyken's log mount, which they're still working on. They're sort of like it's going to become available again. It's actually in the achievements apparently, rather than the actual mail. So if you got that from the test server, it actually ends up in your achievements, and you have to pull the log mount out from there. So watch for that. They've also been working on some other bug fixes as well. improved dynamic encounter experience perk. When you buy it with cartel coins, the coins are deductive, but the perk was not actually unlocked properly. So they've been working on that one. And then there's some other things too. They mentioned decorations here, because there's a couple of minor decoration bugs that are not really worth talking about on the show, but it reminded me. One thing I did do since the last show is I bought the bundle of strong. I wish I had written it down because I don't have the exact name of it, but it's basically this big bundle that came out recently of decorations, and it comes with like a neglected version, and then you do some story, and then you get the sort of the cleaned up version. So, and one of them is like a Tatooinean style cantina. It looks really good in the Tatooine stronghold. That's where I did it, and that's where I did all the story and stuff too. The story actually takes you a couple of places around the galaxy as well, because you have to kind of figure out what's going on and then figure out how to fix it and stuff like that. And it's cute. It's fun. You also get a couple of pets. One is this little disco droid, which is really awesome. And the other one is like this little floaty. It's like a little floating platform with an aquarium on it, and inside is like a little squid guy, like with a little eye, kind of like the one that attacks Luke in A New Hope in the trash bin area. It's really cute, and it's really awesome, and it's very like Cthulhian. Like there's a bunch of little tentacles on it on the bottom, and it's got this one big eye on the little stalk and stuff. It's really, really cool. To me, it's like especially if you like pets, it's like, oh man, I've got to buy this whole this whole big this whole big pack of decorations for this pet. But it's kind of worth it to me. It's like it's now one of my favorite pets in the game. It's that fun, and it's that cute. I really, really like it a lot. And unfortunately, I looked at it, and it's like the parts that unlock the story are actually bound when you take them up. So you can't actually do the story and just get the pet by selling like the mission item. The mission item is bound, so you will not be able to get the pet except by getting this whole pack. So there's that. So unfortunately, that's kind of the only way to get this one pet. Actually, the two pets. But the disco one is really cute, but it keeps making the noise, and I'm not as big a fan of that. Really noisy pets are like, to me, like it gets to be too much really quick. And I get really tired of it. But definitely check that out. The actual items, though, in the pack, if you don't because they give you at least a couple of everything. So if you just wanted one to unlock for everyone, you could actually sell the rest on the GTN. I probably will try to, actually, at least for some of the ones that I don't care as much about. And I'm sure that some of the bigger ones are probably pretty valuable, especially since you can only get them from this one pack. I don't think they're in the ultimate packs. Maybe not yet, and maybe not ever. I don't know. It's possible that they are, and I just don't know it. But even so, like, there's the neglected version and then an unneglected version. There's a lot of sort of like very nice lights. There's like this little trash bin, and I think it's the neglected one that if you look inside the hole where you would put the trash, there's another one of the little eyeball creatures in there as well. So they had some real fun with this whole neglected cantina that you clean up, and then you get the nice version as well. It's really, really cool. It's well worth it if you like strongholds in general, if you like Tatooinean stuff specifically. If you want to see the story, it's really cool. There's a lot of reasons to get these decos, and I personally like them. I like them a lot. Let's see. So moving on here. Yeah, so let's see. There's some dynamic encounter bugs that they're working on. I did notice when I was like leveling up, like the XP was like okay, but it was not exactly super high. It wasn't, some of the dynamic encounters are quite quick and they don't take that long. But if they do take a while, they don't seem to give you a lot more experience. So If you're doing it mostly for the experience, then I maybe wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're at 80, then you get like some tech points, and I think like 3 comms, something like that. Not a huge amount, but I guess it adds up. And it's a good way to see the dynamic encounters anyway. I haven't been lucky enough to get any of the pets or anything like that, although I haven't done that many of them. But I've done some of them, and I just haven't been lucky enough to get any of the pets or any of sort of the special things, and even very, very few of the armor pieces either. But there's a lot of cool stuff that you can get. I just haven't had good RNG. All right. Let's see. Right. There are some bugs related to the stronghold ones that I was talking about that they are working on. I didn't have any problem with it, though. There are some workarounds apparently for some of them. The mission unlocked, like if you can't... yeah, the map node, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're working on it. It sounds like they're not, like, mostly aren't things that would completely keep you from fixing it. Sometimes, things you can sort of log in and log out or reset the mission, you might be able to kind of work around it and stuff like that. I personally didn't run into any bugs during the whole Stronghold Deco mission stuff. All right. And then okay, yeah. Eric said the MK85, this is like the Kaizyken mount. The nuance to be aware of, you'll not receive the MK85 or the Lair Boss titles, if you have yet to receive those, via in-game mail like other rewards. Those rewards are distributed differently, which is why they weren't in today's patch. They're actually attached to in-game achievements that you'll need to go to and then claim the reward from. Apologies for both the confusion and the delay on those rewards being granted. We know them coming at different times and through different streams can be a little confusing. We don't love it either, and would definitely like to clean this up in the future. Yeah, I suppose, I don't know what the fix would be. I guess if they couldn't change where the achievement ones were, maybe they could send you a piece of mail that would like open up the achievement page if you clicked on it. Maybe it would have something like that. I'm not sure. Who knows? But yeah, so if you did get that Kaizyken amount, but it just never showed up, well, that's the reason, because it doesn't show up in the mail. It shows up in your achievements. And I believe there is like a test server area that you kind of go to, and that's probably where it would be. There's sort of some further character modernization stuff. We kind of went over this last time, so we don't need to go over too much here. But there was a little bit more here. Let's see if I can get it here. Where is it? I think I ended up putting it pretty far down here. Yeah, and I believe this is from Jackie. Hey everyone, wanted to let you know that we do have character modernization updates that are coming, and we'll be going over this in an upcoming live stream that we're targeting for February. When we have more details to share on the exact date, I'll make an announcement post. So there we go. So that is letting us know that we knew that there was a live stream coming about the next sort of big update, not the point C and point whatever C, but like the next point 1 or whatever, the next one that comes up. And we were wondering if it was going to be end of January or if it was going to be sometime in February. Now they're just saying they're targeting for February, so that doesn't even guarantee necessarily February. It could be March even at this point. So it sounds like we have some time, though. It's definitely not happening in the next week. May not even happen before the next show or even the show after that. So we'll see. I'm not too worried about it, but it's interesting that we do know that it includes further character modernization, which is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to include. And let's see. There was a Dynamic Encounters XP bonus fix. So that was for that bonus thing where you can buy bonuses to like your story, or if you're doing PvP, you can get more XP from doing PvP for that character. Well, there's a similar one for dynamic encounters now, and that one is coming up in 7.6D. And let's see. And also, this one, who's this one from? I think it was from... shoot, I didn't write down who this one was from, but they did put out a post on evening out RNG on loot, which is kind of an interesting thing. Upcoming in 7.6D, we'll be adding a new system that changes the way loot's given in SWTOR, aimed at reducing the horrible curse of bad luck. And what is it? Our bad luck prevention system allows us to track the rewards obtained from boss drops or chests, and gives us the ability to modify drop chances based on how many times the player haven't received the protected items. How does it work? When you collect loot from sources, we check the incoming item to see if it is one of the bad luck protected items. If it is not, we increase our counter that you've completed a run and not received a protected item. After a set number of attempts, we make sure one of the protected items is rewarded. Where will it be used? The system does not automatically apply to all loot in SWTOR. It has to be hooked up to each specific loot case. With the upcoming patch, we are going to be applying bad luck prevention to augment schematics obtained from the Relentless Replication Lair boss. And here is how the bad luck prevention will be applied. On story node, players are guaranteed to see an augment schematic after 12 runs if it is not dropped. And on veteran mode, players are guaranteed to see an augment schematic after 7 runs if it is not dropped. The regular drop chances for the augment schematics aren't going to change with the introduction of bad luck prevention. The regular drop chances are not going to change. Okay, so outside of this thing that they're adding, the actual regular percentage drop chance is not actually being changed, is what they're saying. And we expect that most players to obtain a schematic before the 12th and 7th runs, respectively. This system is to ensure players don't run into situations where the schematics don't drop after many attempts. Also note that these instances of bad luck prevention are completely separate from each other. Your runs of story mode will not impact your drop chances or bad luck prevention from veteran mode, and vice versa. So they're all very individual. Interesting. Is the system tracked per character or per account? The bad luck prevention system is tracked per character. Each individual character will have their own tracking counter. Does the counter reset after we receive the item? When the protective item is received, the tracking counter will reset. This will happen if you naturally loot the item or if you reach bad luck prevention limits. So your 2nd, 3rd, and 10th drop will all be protected by bad luck prevention. What about insert your favorite item or piece of content here? As mentioned above, bad luck prevention has to be applied to each item or group of items separately. We'll be monitoring the system and collecting your feedback to make sure it continues to work as intended before we start rolling out to more loot in SWTOR. Because this additional tracking can have an impact on game performance, we won't be applying it to every source of loot, but we'll start with a focus on unique drops from operations and flashpoints. Got a jet. I have a big collection of Lucky Charms and tea leaves to clean out. I won't be needing them anymore. So it makes sense that that's what they'd be, because that's like the one thing that it's pretty random that is in the game that everyone's kind of like going for right now. The recipes are quite expensive on the GTN. They're they can be like hundreds of millions of credits for these recipes. They are saleable on the GTN, but to get them, you're going to be putting out some pretty big credits. So it sounds though, since they already sort of expect most people to already get it by the 12th or 7th drop respectively for regular and veteran story and veteran mode, maybe not that many more will be dropping. However, I do think that overall the prices are likely to drop in general, just as some groups sort of get to the point where everyone who is going to craft them already has the recipe, and then they do have more of the recipes to just put up on the GTN. They might even, put them, like, it might even be the sort of situation where it's like, if no one has them, let's just give them to the guildmaster, and the guildmaster can sell them so that the guildmaster can, add to our guild's overall, credit hoard or something like it, something to that effect. So I'm kind of expecting that just in general, the prices will continue to drop. I do remember the best recipe being like well over 1 billion credits when I checked it shortly after the the boss became available at all. And the last time I checked it, it was still very expensive, but it was over 700 billion, which is still a hell of a lot of credits, but or 700 million. I said billion. 700 million, which is still a heck of a lot of credits, but obviously it's not, like 1 point whatever billion that it was before. All right. And there was also there was like an hour server downtime a couple of days ago to fix a login and transfer to other areas issue, apparently. We're aware that some players are having issues with logging into the game or transitioning into different areas. We'll be taking the servers down in approximately 10 minutes. Estimated downtime is 1 hour. And then, basically that's roughly what happened. The game was down for a bit and then came back up, and apparently whatever it was fixed, which is good. Let's see. Social vendors will now properly display the requirements for their wares. That's always good. The Spoils of War vendor now sells solid resource matrix, which is really nice because they're a little tricky to get otherwise. And because they were tricky to get, they were kind of expensive on the GTN as well. Hi, Mikey. And Quercus. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I haven't checked. It doesn't really say how much it is, so it'll be interesting to see what that cost would be. But at least it's available from the vendor in some way. Let's see. They fixed some of those. Commonly Conversations will now show various NPC appearances. So that's always interesting. The Comlink Conversations, which you see now, like if you've seen the Ilum boss, you will have seen at least one of these new Comlink Conversations that they've added to the game. There's also a Comlink conversation on a couple of them on the new Stronghold decoration missions, that whole thing I was just talking about a few minutes ago. So they use the new Comlink conversation feature for that as well. It really, I don't know how different it really feels to me. It's like, it does feel different, but ultimately it's not that different from like one of the more written, things that were sort of rare in the game, but do occur. And, the comlinks are kind of similar to those. Anyway, they're a little nicer looking for sure. They look a little more detailed, and there's a little more tech involved, both behind the scenes and also just, how it looks. It looks more high tech than just bringing up, the text. And fix an issue preventing in-combat enemies from showing up on the overlay map, which is cool. I like the overlay map. I sometimes use the mini-map still. Like I was using it a lot when I wanted to find missions on the Republic or Empire side, when I was trying to find all the side missions that I could. I was using the mini-map because if there's a mission in range at all, it'll show up on the mini-map pinned to the outside of the circle. Where it might be a little harder to notice if you're in the overlay map. But it's kind of good that the overlay map is now properly showing the in-combat enemies, because I really do, depending on my spec that I'm in or whatever, I do sometimes use that to sort of like figure out like, oh, okay, I'm in combat still, where are they? Or if I'm not sure what's going on with the combat, or if I'm trying to avoid, get out of combat, like which way I need to go. Or like how close, and sometimes you can actually tell like when they're going to be coming around the corner. You can set up, ambushes, stuff like that. So it's really nice when you can see on the overlay map exactly where they are, just like on the mini map. All right, and the Merm Cicada mount will now dismount the player when the player attempts to gather a node. That's hilarious. I wonder if anyone had seen that, where you go and you try to grab some, a slicing node or whatever, and it doesn't dismount you, but it just kind of lets you stay on your mount. That would be hilarious. Fixed an issue that made beards on cyborg characters turn metallic red, which sounds bizarre, and it is. I actually, Switcherista put a post up on Blue Sky that I saw, where she found a couple of examples, and it's like, it's not even the whole beard, it's like little chunks of the beard turn like really bright red, like almost neon, kind of like super bright red with like a little bit of fading around it. And it's only part of the beard for the cyborg characters. It was very bizarre looking, but kind of badass too in a weird way. It's clearly a bug though. Let's see. Decorations that contain randomized appearances for NPCs will now show a randomized appearance when initially placed within a stronghold, and also show a randomized appearance to a remote player who is a guest in the stronghold. Interesting. The Braidhawk hair no longer looks distorted when the player is wearing the runic Wanderer chest plate. That's interesting. The Braidhawk braid no longer moves when viewed. I wonder what that means. The Braidhawk and half-long, half-short appearance option items no longer appear as usable once they've been previously used. That's always good, because that way, for character appearance options, I always try to get all of those unlocked so that I always have every option available in the game. And but I can't remember just off the top of my head every one that I've gotten, especially the older ones, like if I might have missed one or something. So if it looks like it's clickable, I'm probably going to buy it, and that would suck if I already had it available, if I'd already used it. So, and let's see. All right, the Midnight Rat Ghoul will now spawn in the Kaon Under Siege flashpoint when the event is active. That's always cool. I like how there's a couple of flashpoints where that are Rat Ghoul oriented, and if the Rat Ghoul event is going on, there's like an extra boss and a few other changes too. I always thought that was kind of a cool thing. The doorways in the Rishi stronghold are no longer blocked by boxes. That's hilarious. Yeah, so basically, so not a ton of news yet, but we do know that there is a live stream coming. They're targeting February, which, again, we don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean February. It could even be after. That's very much a phrase that invites, not non-specificity. It probably does mean that's not going to be in January. So we've got a little time, but I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's about everything. Like I said, the news was a little bit light. Hopefully, watch Kitty's stream. It's been growing really well, and he's got a few announcements to make about it. He'll do that for the OotiniCast for next episode. And that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Ootini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the City Ilshan server, or in our Ootini Rage Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Ootini to join the Ootini channel, then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at OotiniCast.bsky.social or Mastodon at OotiniCast.mastodon.world. In both cases, in both Blue Sky and Mastodon, if you search on OotiniCast, you're going to find us, and we have the typical, icon and all that stuff. It's pretty easy to tell where we are. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room, and we'll see you next show. All right. And because I'm soloing this one, I don't think I'm going to raid this time. I'm just going to call that good. Hey, KB, I think there's going to be an update pretty soon. I'm not sure I don't think it was today or yesterday. So I guess it's going to be the next one. So I guess it's going to be in the 24th. So yeah, that's probably it. For some reason, I just wasn't, I was a little nuts with the notes today. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so thank you for coming. Hopefully Kitty will be streaming tomorrow. If he is, go say hi. And thank you for coming, and we'll see you next show. Stopping the stream and stopping.